Welcome to Humoranities with Sephora. A highlight in many cultures is the celebration of birthdays. While my birthday is a low profile event and something I wish were a bigger deal, ironically, birthday parties, particularly kid birthday parties, are one of my least favorite kinds of events. I think I share this in common with lots of parents and non parents alike. Every parent has planned that birthday party that ends up going south. We all, family members and friends alike, get trapped into going to these awkward events too. And if you haven't gone to a kid's birthday party, you were once a kid yourself. One of the things I mentioned may remind you of an experience you've had and hated. Kid birthday parties progress in phases, and there's never been a phase that I was fond of. Let's start at the very beginning with the celebration of a child's first birthday. Cultures across the globe celebrate a first birthday in different ways. Some have the tradition where a child gets their first haircut. I've seen this here in the US, and I've also read that it's a tradition in the Ukraine and Turkmenistan. In India, Hindu children have their heads shaved on their first birthday. In China and Korea, there is a somewhat shared tradition called the picking ceremony. A child is dressed up and placed in front of different items, such as money, rice, and a calligraphy brush. Whichever item the child picks is an indication of their future path. Other cultures have large community feasts and so on. All of these are beautiful traditions, and I'm very aware that we are lucky to live in an era where modern medicine has decreased the child mortality rate. But if I'm going to be honest, as a parent in the modern era, I feel like celebrating a child's first birthday is less about their survival and more about our survival as parents. I mean, it's not like my 1 year old had any friends. I did. I missed them. When I look back at the first birthday parties we had for my two daughters, it was less about their reaction to their first bite of birthday cake and more of an event where I made my first public appearance after a year of sleepless nights, pediatrician visits, and general postpartum chaos and confusion. After the first birthday celebration, there are years 2 through 4. I'm not sure why we want to celebrate any of these ages. Maybe we want to see our children have a tantrum in front of others or to fall and scrape their knees. Maybe we want to spread sickness around because there's always that one kid who will sneeze or cough and we know it's game over for the work week to come. Maybe we owe lots of people reciprocal invitations for the birthday parties we were invited to, so we decide to go all out. Maybe we're tired of figuring out what to get our kid to play with, so we use it as an excuse to add to the toy box and thereby increase the clutter we have in the upgraded home we bought because we were expanding our family. For ages 2 through 4, the party is filled with daycare and preschool friends and their parents. These parents are sadly trapped together, unable to converse because our children are jumping on trampolines and trying to feed themselves at the same time. It's a stressful experience. The worst part is this: I don't think my kids remember their birthday parties at this age, and I can tell you, I don't remember them either beyond the stress of it all. I will say that the most critical thing as a parent trapped attending another child's birthday party is the standard of birthday cake offered. Grocery store buttercream frosted cake is the absolute worst. Your kid always wants a piece with the most icing, and then she takes a bite and hates the icing, so you have to scrape the icing off only to encounter the driest cake in the world, which your kid finds tasteless because it has no icing. And there you are, looking wasteful if it's tossed. So you take a few bites, move the cake around in your plate to make it look like most of it was consumed, and then you toss it. It makes me feel so guilty. It makes me feel bitter about having to chaperone my child at the birthday party in the first place. One time, though, as I was forced into eating my child's leftovers at a party, I encountered my first Costco sheet cake. It was simple to cut, moist, and not overly sweet. After the first heavenly experience, if I ever saw this Costco sheet cake at a party, because I'd be too embarrassed to get my own slice, I would make sure to get my kid a big piece I knew she wouldn't be able to finish so that I would get to enjoy it on my own. I think there was a brief period during the pandemic when Costco discontinued the large sheet cakes, but from what I know now, they're back. If not a Costco sheet cake, then two other varieties of cake shine above the rest: a good tres leches cake or a Whole Foods berry chantilly cake. If I see these cakes at a party, I get pretty bold. My kid may be in danger and teetering on the edge of disaster at the birthday party, but if I see an opening, I'll beeline for some good cake and maybe even go back for seconds. Between the ages of 5 and 10, the kids have made friends. We explore the worlds of tea parties, pizza making, cake baking, jewelry fashioning, rock climbing, and kid casinos in the form of Chuck E. Cheese's and other places like that. We're heavily into theme parties, which dictate everything from the invitations and tableware to the attire of our child and the guests. We must make goodie bags filled with plastic and rubber trinkets that families take home and trash or recycle. Sometimes you meet a cool parent lingering during the drop off or pickup process, and you get to know one another and become friendly. When fellow party parents turn into friends, you come to experience the joy of dividing and conquering chauffeuring responsibilities to subsequent birthday parties. With your child occupied at a birthday party, any extra bit of time you get for yourself is the type of freedom that makes all the work you put into your own kid's birthday party more than worth it. It all gets way worse or better for you as a parent once the age of sleepovers arrives for your kids, ages 11 through 14. Sleepovers are the kind of event that can either be extended torture or a hands off hosting gig. If a sleepover doesn't go your way, it's because you may be that parent who gets a call in the middle of the night. Your child is upset in some way and wants to come home, or they puked up the buttercream birthday cake and have to come home. You may be the parent host trying to console an upset child guest and waiting to answer the knock of the beleaguered parent arriving for pickup. When you answer, you have just the slightest bit of paranoia that you're being judged for causing the child further trauma with your corny jokes. Cultural considerations do exist. I know my Asian friends and their families, years ago and even still, hesitate to allow their children to spend the night at another person's home. My parents were a little protective, and it wasn't just an issue of trusting another family, but it was mostly the sense that no child has any business staying outside of the family home. My mom had culturally based reservations, but mostly she didn't like me sleeping over at another person's house because I'd almost get no sleep. I'd end up being grumpy and moody with a migraine the next day, and it would incapacitate me. And as a result, my mother also got a migraine the next day from having to deal with me. My daughter is the same way. I allow her to stay as late as the receiving parent is willing to stay up to answer the door, but rarely overnight. Most of the time, as the hosting parent, you don't have much to do. You order pizza, make sure the kids have snacks, and you make pancakes the next day. In between, the kids entertain themselves with movies, karaoke, games, drama, and the occasional secret phone call to a boy one of them has a crush on. It's a rite of passage. As I think about it more, I realize I have no idea what birthday parties are like for boys age 7 through 14. Because after 7, my daughters didn't have any close friends who were boys, and customarily, there weren't any mixed gender birthday parties happening as a result. Now, my older daughter is over 15, and we're at that stage where the circle of friends has mixed up again. She plans her birthday celebrations and spends weeks conferring with friends, going through various iterations of the guest list. There are lots of considerations. No outlier can be invited because who would they even talk to? Everyone must know at least one other person who will be there. We have to be mindful of breakups just before the event because no one wants to be uncomfortable with that kind of energy in the room. While I'm not involved in that level of guest list detail, I do provide insight into the feasibility of plans. No, dear, I can't lock your sister in her room to ensure she goes unseen when your friends come over. No, dear, I don't think having your birthday party on your actual birthday is optimal for everyone because that would be a Wednesday. No, dear, I don't think I can afford to pay for 20 people to go parasailing. Birthdays require gift purchasing, and it takes me forever to figure out what to get a child for their birthday, even if online shopping has become my new best friend. While I'm guilty of doing this too, it's so hard when you ask a parent what their child is into and you get no leads. They will often just say, "Oh, anything is fine," or "Don't worry about a gift." If I ask my kid what their friend is into, she'll give me the most basic answer like drawing, or the most expensive one like a video game. If I gift a video game, I feel like the child's parents will be annoyed that I'm encouraging more digital engagement and time wastage. The classic gift to give is a good book, but ugh, well, I love a good book at my age. None of the kids I know would jump for joy over getting a book that their parents will keep yelling at them to read. Somehow I muddle through and find something, and hopefully every child we have ever given a present to was satisfied. I have no complaints about the gifts my girls have received. People are super creative. Thanks to them, my daughters have made clay pots, built terrariums, and played board games they might not have gotten to enjoy otherwise. Speaking of gifts, gifts need to go into gift bags, and gift bags are an essential and festive feature of birthday parties. When I was a kid, I can remember going to the Hallmark store to pick out just the right bag and trinkets with a common theme for my friend's birthday. Thanks to my own children and life events, gift bags have cycled in and out of my house. Ever since my daughters had their first birthday parties, I don't think I've ever had to buy a gift bag. I think I found myself in a bind once when trying to give one of their friends a gift because I hadn't had a chance to go to the store to buy one when I realized I was sitting on a dozen. Since then, we just reuse bags. I think this might be tacky, and yet it's not like these gift bags get beat up or anything. Same thing goes for most of the tissue paper involved. Oh, and I love a good neutrally themed cheerful bag. I experience a weird kind of disappointment when someone gets us a gift in a gift bag that captures the specificity of the event too well, like for a wedding anniversary. Wedding anniversaries are not events I find myself attending in this phase of my life to reuse the bag. I also get disappointed if the gift bag is thematic in a dated sort of way. I have an unfortunate number of frozen themed gift bags I can't seem to reuse because the girls and their friends have grown out of that stage. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm disappointed when I can't regift a gift bag? Wow, that is tacky. And then we have the birthday cards placed into the gift bags. My older daughter makes elaborate cards and writes adorable messages. My younger daughter is a child of the pandemic who can barely hold a pen. She can't be bothered with personalizing cards, and when she does remember to address her friend somewhere in a card, she'll sign her name in the weirdest of places, too. To cater to both, I have a stack of blank, standardized cards with beautiful imagery that can be used for any occasion. For my older daughter, she can dress them up. And as for my younger daughter, no matter the effort she puts into the card, at least there's a piece of paper with her name on it so that her friend knows who the present is from. Because she tells me that's all that really matters. Here's the thing though. In the end, I've endured and will continue to endure all of the birthday themes, cakes, bags, and other stuff related to kid birthday parties because, well, I love to see my children, nay, all children, come together, run amok, play, laugh, and enjoy time with friends. There aren't that many milestones one can plan for in life, and when it comes to birthday parties, well planned or not, seeing joy in children's faces is the best gift. Thank you for listening to Humoranities. Enjoying the podcast? Please take a moment to rate it. And for more musings, visit humoranities.com and be sure to follow on all social media platforms.